Hi ho, hi ho. Back again, more Curse of Strahd. You want another Dungeon Master guide on the Curse of Strahd? Here it is. Winter's still here in New Zealand, so you will have to put up with me croaky voice for a little bit longer. Now, I'm just doing my sound check, making sure everything is working correctly, and once everything is working correctly, we'll be moving on. So make sure you have a comfortable spot. I will put the start time for this video down in the description for those of you who want to sort of skip past all of this. But the videos do go unlisted, so that means that as a general you have to go through the notifications to get to the live stream, and but they go onto Patreon unlisted, the live streams. Otherwise, you're going to wait for the edited version to come out and be available to you to watch at a later date or later on in the day. If I get to it, I should be able to get it all done. Okay, so that is the plan. Now, if you haven't been part of my live streams, normally what I do is I present everything first and then I open it up for questions and answers, which is exactly what I plan to do for today. And I'm going to give you my face as a start off. To pull out my earplugs. Seems the sound is working fine, which is good. I'm happy. Now, I've used the Blinsky dolls in many different ways, and I thought I would share my experience with you so that you can torture your players and scare the bejesus out of them. So settle back and let's talk about Blinsky dolls and making things seem extremely scary. What's going on there? Oh, okay, interesting. I don't know what that's all about, but anyway, I am now ready. Hi, welcome to HowtoDandD. My name is Fred Wheeler, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. And today's topic is for the Dungeon Master, not for players. I have player videos, you can go and watch those. So if you are a player and you're playing through the Curse of Strahd, this is full of spoilers, so I would suggest go and play or watch a different video. You can go watch one of my other things. Now, if you're a Dungeon Master, stick around because the Curse of Strahd Dungeon Master Guide, this is for you, to give you a few ideas on how you can make your game a little bit more interesting. Is no fun, is no Blinsky, as the word goes. Now, Vallakhi's toy maker, Gadolf Blinsky, makes rather odd and gothic dolls for the people of Barovia. Now, you could say just for Vallakhi, but to be truthful, I believe he makes them pretty much for anybody and everybody. Once these dolls leave his store, all manner of strange things start to happen to the dolls. And that's how I ran it in my game. And I found that was highly effective in making things really creepy and interesting for my players. And I wanted to make it creepy and interesting for my players. Now, is this because Blinsky is a wizard of tiny wonders? I think that's actually unlikely. Certainly he believes he is a wizard of tiny wonders, but this video is not about the toy maker Blinsky. It's about his dolls. So if you try page 118 of the Curse of Strahd, you'll learn more about Blinsky, the toy maker, but there's not really a lot of information on the Blinsky dolls themselves. In fact, any information on them is sort of scattered right throughout the adventure, and although they are sort of speckled through there, I think you will find there are not enough Blinsky dolls to make things hugely entertaining for your game. So my advice to you is, add a few more. You want to have a few more, absolutely. So how can you use the creepy dolls in your game and make Chucky proud? Well, first off, I would suggest going and getting yourself access to the Chucky movies. Copy everything that you have seen in the Chucky movies. A lot of what he does is actually the sort of stuff you want to utilize at the end of your game, at the end of your adventure or the end of the campaign, because he's very openly aggressive. There's no real sort of build up other than stab. So when you're using Chucky as reference point, try to use him as a last resort. What you can do is you can treat the dolls as like a vessel for a number of different spirits or souls that can control the doll and do various different things within your adventure. Say a player character dies, they can suddenly take up residence in one of these Blinsky dolls. Or you can have the doll currently possessed by some sort of evil or demonic spirit, or if there's an NPC, a non-player character who's died that the party are quite partial to, maybe their soul makes it into the doll rather than finding its way into the mist and sort of sitting there in limbo, waiting for its new body, to be reincarnated or brought back into the world in some way. So there's a lot of different ways you can use it, or you can also use it as a way of introducing Strahd von Zarovich to mess with the characters big time and players, and actually have Strahd controlling one of the dolls. You can even have the doll look like Strahd, like a vampire of some kind, just to make it far more creepy and scary in your game. And of course, if you do something like this will really, I would be careful. I try to leave this option to the very last. I left it too late in my adventure because by the time I had tried a lot of these techniques, I found myself in a situation where my players did not trust the Blinsky dolls, and they wouldn't touch them, and if they saw them, they would run away. So I really messed them up pretty bad. So playing out one of the Blinsky dolls as being Strahd von Zarovich, or at least controlled by Strahd von Zarovich, might be a bit difficult. Okay, now I already said you need to have more Blinsky dolls, so place them right throughout your entire adventure at rather odd places. Places the players would not expect, or in places that are really important. Suddenly there's one of these dolls. Every doll should look different. Try not to make them all the same. I would make them look slightly different to each other. Have the dolls move around without anybody seeing them move or shift. That is your first strategy. I feel like when you're trying to build up suspension and scare the players with the dolls, which is really what I'm trying to do, is I would have them move. Maybe they were in one position or one place, and then suddenly they're in a different position, and they never actually see the doll do that. It's very easy to do. I know players will say after the fact, well, can I make a perception check to see if I actually notice the doll move? And of course you don't allow that, otherwise that sort of ruins the fun of messing with them a little bit more. Okay, eventually you can have the doll's head move, or limbs like their arms or legs shift or move when the players are actually watching them, and then just stop. Of course, when that happens, the players are going to be waiting and wondering what's going to happen next. And one of the best ways I found was to have the dolls move a head or a limb and then stop and do nothing else. And the players will wait them out for a long time, or they decide, okay, I'm putting the doll down, I'm leaving it, I'm not going to touch it anymore. I've efficiently and effectively done what I wanted to do, which was to scare them in some way. Glowing eyes is a really good way of applying a scary element to the dolls. Now, the eyes can just sort of glow red or green or white or whatever color you want. It doesn't really matter, but certainly glowing eyes is a popular way of making things creepy. Now remember, don't use it too often. And I found with a lot of the things I'm talking about, I did not repeat them. I usually found myself having to do something else. So you're going to be using a lot of these different techniques. Make the Blinsky dolls look creepy, horrible, but also in some cases make them look familiar. Voodoo. Voodoo is one of those things that's, hard to explain, black magic, that sort of thing. So suddenly for them to come across a doll that looks very similar to one of the player's characters or somebody they have met, particularly if it looks like one of the player's characters, that could really scare them out a lot, because suddenly they're thinking, hang on, why is there a doll that looks exactly like me? There are dolls within the adventure that look like Irina, but making the dolls look like one of the player's characters can really scare the willies out of them. I found that really, really helpful. Certainly he can have them hanging from rope and things like that, and in a bad way. Why not? Why not? Make it fun, make it fun. A character who actually keeps hold of the dolls and stores them in their backpack, have the doll steal some of their gear and then disappear. That can really sort of mess up a players' characters' sort of plans, and certainly they'll become far more distrusting of the dolls. When they see them, they're going to be sort of like, okay, the last time I had one of those dolls, they ran off with my rope and something else that I really needed at a very important time. I did not use it to go and steal magic items from the players, but I did steal a variety of different items from their character sheet that I knew would have an impact on the character. Often things that would be useful, but they could replace. It's really up to you how you work that. Later on in the adventure, try having the dolls talk to the characters. And use sort of like a morbid personality, an odd personality, some way of sort of making it clear, even if they only talk in a single word rather than in full-blown sentences. That could be quite creepy as well. Having the dolls regenerate if they get destroyed, there's bound to be a time when the players decide, I've had enough, it is time to absolutely obliterate this thing and destroy it. And by all means, I wouldn't stop them doing that, but then have the dolls regenerate. Now, you don't have to have them regenerate in front of the players' characters. You can have them destroyed and they come back later maybe and find the doll is completely intact again. That's probably far more scary than seeing it reform in front of them. Attacking the party members with the dolls is probably your last resort. I wouldn't go with that option straight away. I would wait a little longer. Make sure you can play out all of your other strategies first before you start attacking the party. Really, a single doll is only going to be effective if you build a stat block for it against one party member. It's not going to be effective against the entire party. So it's not really a battle the Blinsky doll can win. Not unless, of course, you decide to make the Blinsky doll expand into the size of a T-Rex and be 10 or 15 foot tall, which I suppose you could do if you really wanted to. I would suggest try having the dolls climb out of a character's pack and then just start staring directly at them. Don't say anything, don't move, just stare directly at them. That can really creep out your players big time. I found that useful at least once or twice. As the adventure progresses, you want to sort of up the ante and try a few different things. And what I would suggest to you is go with something that really sort of touches home. So what I did is I did this in the very first Ravenloft adventure before I was running the Curse of Strahd, and I had the party come across a pile of Blinsky dolls. And these Blinsky dolls formed like a flock. Now, you could have them running along the floor, but I had them swarm and fly and attack the party like angry bees. And that was hugely entertaining and also quite scary. It took a little while for them to sort the problem out, but really, it was something that was memorable for my players and really effective. And I'm sure you can do the same sort of thing. Now, a strategy that you can use in your game with regard to the Blinsky dolls, and this is before Blinsky dolls start attacking players' characters or doing anything that's outwardly aggressive or moving around, is some of the most well-known haunted dolls or possessed dolls that are known of, or that have strange mystical or mysteries behind them. Their facial expressions will change, and you can do the same thing with your Blinsky doll. So what you're going to do is when the player's character's looking at the doll, its face might be it might be smiling, and then later on when they look at the doll, it might be sad, or it might be looking confused or something like that. So change the facial expression of your doll if possible, so that that really sort of creeps them out. I would also recommend having one of the dolls become like a creepy friend. If you want to sort of play it out not so much as an aggressor, you could just have one of the dolls befriend one of the characters and provide advice or just talk to them at unusual times and just see what the response from your players is. All options available to you, and I would suggest, like I said, use as many options as you possibly can. Now, I'm hoping you found this useful. If you did, great. I have videos for players and Dungeon Masters. Now, if you're a Dungeon Master and you're running the Curse of Strahd, great, this will be useful to you. Now, if you're not running the Curse of Strahd, you can still use the concept of the haunted or possessed doll in another adventure if you really wanted to. playing out the same sorts of things. You can use any one of these. You could use multiples of them. I have a video series on the Curse of Strahd, a Dungeon Master guide, if you might say, and it's getting bigger every day, or every week, should I say, and you're welcome to go and check out those videos. It helps support the channel. If you want to help support me, I also have a Patreon page where you can get access to all of the unlisted live streams and additional content, and I do priority. You get priority on the videos that you ask for on Patreon. I have affiliate links to the book depository and Amazon down in the description, or doobly-doo, I believe it's called the doobly-doo. You'll also find underneath the video there's a merchandise shelf if you want to buy some of my merchandise. Now remember to share, like and subscribe, hit the bell button, bing 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 bing, if you want to be notified when I go live and when I publish new videos, because I do that a lot. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s. Yeah! Just give me a second. All right, start chucking your questions into the chat, or if you have additional advice and things you would like to add, do that now. I will talk about things outside of the Curse of Strahd or Blinsky dolls. For those of you who want to talk about something else, that's fine. I'm just chucking on my glasses, having a drink of water, and bring back my face so you can talk to a real person. Where is the... there we go. That's what we want. Okay. And facial camera. Bam. All right, let's have a look at the live chat. Boom. All right. Bob. How's it going, Bob? I am currently using the dolls to mess with my group that I'm DMing on Roll20. Good for you, Bob. That's the way to go. I used the dolls to mess with the players big time. I used every possible trope an idea I could possibly think of, and I threw everything. The only one that I had planned to do that I never got to actually use was to have a vampire doll that looked like Strahd, controlled by Strahd, have an interaction with the party. I knew that would scare them a lot, and I never actually got an opportunity to do that, because by the time I'd done everything else, they are so traumatized by the dolls that they wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole. And, I can't count the number of times they ran away. If they found a Blinsky doll, they'd run out of the room, not knowing what was going to happen next. That I can kind of understand, because I shell-shocked them. I tried everything there was. MKaz man. Okay, thanks for these DM guides. You're welcome. I'm sorry if I got your name wrong. I am running three groups through the Curse of Strahd, and they all just finished the Death House. These extra things are great help. Okay, good, excellent. And like I said, just because I'm talking about Blinsky dolls and how the dolls can be possessed and used in different ways doesn't mean you can't take the concept into a different campaign or a different adventure. It doesn't have to be just a horror-based adventure. There are other ways of applying it, right? All of which can result in a lot of hilarity, but also a lot of scared players and just a lot of fun. And hugely fun to use the dolls, which is why I wanted to do the videos, because the Blinsky doll is my favourite tool within the adventure. I think I had far more fun with the dolls than I should have had. Hi Joe, how's it going? Matt's here. Hi Matt. Yeah, Twilight Zone. Voodoo dolls, that's right. Think Twilight. I mean, the Twilight Zone is a really good example of taking horror to a different level. Because what you do is you don't present everything right up in your face. If you start doing, don't go straight for the Chucky option, with a knife-wielding doll. That's really a last resort option where you've played out every other thing that you wanted to try first. And then you can start doing those sorts of things. Okay, it looks like we have covered everything that we needed to. I would have thought there would have been more people in here watching, but that's all right. That's fine. Hopefully those people who are interested in the topic will get to use it. I am going to take off, go and do my own thing. And it is, so I don't know why that is happening. All right, anyway, I'm going to say what I normally say, and that is, have a good night, day, morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Look after yourself and your family, and hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s.